Greetings, I'm here on behalf of Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated. People of color weren't always able to associate with programs with other ethnicities. Therefore, we found a way to impact ourselves, families, and many communities through these Greek-level organizations. The National Panhellenic Council was created for people that look like me, that have established unique core values, but all want to educate and uplift communities of minority, specifically from racial inequities. If you decide to pass this bill, not only will it affect HBCUs and other state universities in a negative way in the programs that are implemented, but present and future generations to come. Please do not create a bill that affects over 100 years of progression for minorities just because of personal bias. Thank you.
And that was Robert Tucker II, giving his testimony before a committee. And the bill, HB 999, was passed by the House on Monday in a 12-5 party line vote. And the Florida State Senate must now pass its version of the bill, Senate Bill 266. Before it is able to head to Florida Governor Ron DeSanctimonious's desk. Many members of Black sororities and fraternities are very much concerned about the impact that House Bill 999 will have on their existence, the existence of their organizations. The bill endangers several groups of folks. Opponents of the bill worry that its language is too vague and could be used to ban activities promoted by multicultural student unions, Black fraternities and sororities, and courses in Jewish history, women's studies, and LGBTQ+ studies. And I want to highlight exactly what Robert Tucker II said in that video. If you decide to pass this bill, which they did, but if you decide to pass this bill, not only will it affect HBCUs or other state universities in a negative way, in the programs that are implemented but present and future generations to come. Please do not create a bill that affects over 100 years of progression for minorities just because of personal bias. And I like how he laid out the personal bias. He called them out right there. He was smooth with calling them folks out. And here are the details of the bill. The bill bans state schools from using diversity, equity, and inclusion statements, critical race theory rhetoric, or other forms of political identity filters as part of the hiring process, including as part of applications for employment, promotion, and tenure, conditions of employment, or reviewing qualifications of employment. Let's just go and say they don't want no diversity. I mean, this man is really taking us back in time, America, and we shouldn't go back because that was not a good time for most of us. All right, for some people, it was mighty fine, but for most of us, it was not. And while the bill does not explicitly ban groups, lawmakers alike have voiced concerns over how the language could be used to target certain programs. The American Historical Association put out this statement. We express horror at the assumptions that lie at the heart of this bill and its blatant and frontal attack on principles of academic freedom and shared governance. This is not only about Florida, it is about the heart and soul of public education in the United States. And again, that was the American Historical Society, and they are absolutely right about that. The concern being raised by students and other Black community leaders did not matter to the committee members. They voted to pass the bill anyway. And State Rep Angie Nixon summed it up in a tweet thread, providing students of all backgrounds the programs that serve their needs that they themselves have created in many cases should be prioritized, not politicized. At a time when Florida's education system, especially higher education, has been made so politically charged and polarized by certain folks, it's our students and faculty that must live with the consequences. Let's stop going down this dangerous road of censorship and limiting free speech in our public institutions of higher learning and get back to solving problems that Floridians ask for. Dan.
Yeah, I look at the story and I heed the warnings that these non-Republican state lawmakers are trying to say, because this is the entire cycle of when you have state or country capture, whether it's the executive branch, the judicial branch, and the legislative branch. Because the legislative branch makes a law, they make it just vague enough so that someone in the legal sector, which is often captured by conservatives who are appointed by conservative executive branches, they put it up against the court. again, the court appointed by a bunch of these conservatives, a bunch of these Republicans who will listen to these, quite frankly, lazy legal arguments from Republicans to like knock out these bills and knock out these programs. What this legislator is doing is teeing up the process so that if someone like Ron DeSanctimonious or someone even worse, God forbid, wants to go for these programs, as they've clearly shown that Florida state legislative will do, there is the backing in all three branches of the state government to do it. It's terrible. We need to absolutely watch out for it. And I'm glad people are calling attention to it.
Yeah, I'm glad too. I mean, dag, Florida, really? And other states are mimicking this very thing. This is like the wrong use of power. So we will continue to keep you up to date on this. You know we will.